This is Ashley Taylor with the Orange County Library System here at the Hiawassee branch in Orlando, Florida. And today is January 7th of 2013 and we're capturing memories for our community. Can you please tell us your name and where are you from?
Yes, I'm Joan Ricketts, and originally I'm from Nebraska.
And when did you move into the Orlando area?
In 1970 into Orlando, and where we are right now.
And what brought you into this area?
My husband's job. He worked for the Department of Defense, and we were stationed in Clearwater, and he was transferred to Martin at Orlando.
And what about you? What did you do?
Well, I was a homemaker most of the time, but very active in the community right away, and church work.
And how did you start your work in the community?
Through the Pine Hills Community Council, which was in the old firehouse on 50, and some of the neighbors belonged to the organization, and I got interested, mainly because of busing. The busing issue came up shortly after we moved to Orlando, and particularly in Pine Hills.
What was the bus issue?
They were going to bus all of our children out of Pine Hills and bus the Negro children in. So this caused a big controversy. And there was a lot of discussion, a lot of meetings, and yeah.
And what was the education like at that time
Very
for your
good,
children?
very good. Pine Hills was probably over 90% white, and the schools were excellent. And what happened when we decided to go into the busing was we had white flight, and this is what hurt Pine Hills. And I was part of some of the activity that went on.
And you said you were very involved with the church.
Yes.
What sort of activities were you involved with in the church?
Mainly the United Methodist Women, and I've always been very active in the United Methodist Women, and also through other organizations in the church, served on different committees.
Was the church already established
Yes,
when you
yes,
joined?
yeah. The church, in fact, this is the history of the church, and we moved here in December of '70. So the church was already in their building next to Evans, Grace United Methodist.
And what was the church community like?
It was very young. It was a very nice, active young group, and a lot of children. A lot of Evans children went there, and we were always very tightly connected with Evans High School. At one time the church met at Evans, and it seems ironic that the church was sold and torn down for Evans.
Why was the church torn down?
They bought the property. The Orange County Education bought the property, so it was torn down to use for building of the new Evans High School.
And what happened to the church itself, the community of the church, once the
We
church was torn
basically,
down?
the majority of the people moved over to the First United Methodist Church of Pine Hills, the congregation.
And what about the organization and the work you were doing at the time?
Still active. United Methodist Women go in any of the United Methodist churches.
Well, what are some of the projects that your group does?
United Methodist Women we're basically mission for women and children throughout the world. We're the largest women's organization in the world.
And what sort of activities do you do in the community?
Well, the church itself, now this does not come under the United Methodist Women, it comes under the church. We do a lot of outreach programs, and one that I feel is the most important that started at Grace many, many years ago, I know over 20 years ago, and it has never missed a month of taking food to the Homeless Coalition. And it started when the First United Methodist Church of Orlando opened up their courtyard for homeless, and that's how the Homeless Coalition started. So the Methodist churches and a lot of the other churches started carrying food and taking people down to help maintain this. And until it was taken over by the Homeless Coalition, it was totally sponsored by the churches of Orlando area. And our church started right away. We carried a breakfast and a dinner and provided people every month, at least one Sunday a month. And then it still continues on. We carry about just under $200 worth of food to the Homeless Coalition every month. And it's mainly breakfast items. you know, like grits and oatmeal. And
So you've been very involved with the Pine Hills community.
yes. Hmm.
And over the years, as you lived in this community, how has it changed?
A lot. uh, a lot of people feel it's not for the good, and then in a lot of ways it is for the good. It's very diverse. And the people that are diverse, that are bringing in the different cultures and the different ideas, it's not all that bad. You know, people criticize, but I have Haitian neighbors that I just love. And we have people from India, we have people from Spain, we have all cultures, Puerto Rico. It just to turn, in fact, we call our neighborhood a diverse neighborhood because it is. It's just so very diverse. But we never have any problem among the people. We have no conflict because you're Haitian or because you're Puerto Rican. There's none of that. And it's just people that want better for their families. And they're just here to work hard. They're hardworking people.
So you've seen some improvement over the years. Have you
I
seen
think so.
some decline as well?
Well, the decline is in there were a lot of things that caused decline. One, we saw the first one was when they put in the very high sewer rates for Orange County. It didn't hit the city, it hit Orange County. And our sewer rates went sky high. So if you watered your outside lawn, then your sewer was very high. So unless you put in an outside irrigation meter, and it still could be very high, people quit watering their lawns. So one of the things you first see is a decline in beautiful green grass and bushes and all that. And so that was one thing that caused it. But there have been a lot of outside things that have caused Pine Hills to have its problems. And I think one of them, of course, I work for the Orange County community through trying to get things done through the commission downtown. And I feel like there are certain things they could pass laws on that would help us that they're very slow at doing.
For example, what sort of laws would
Well,
you?
one thing we've fought for years, we do not have an ordinance against cutting down these huge, beautiful oak trees. So they can cut down a 200-year-old oak without even getting any permission. And to me, that's the crime, because there should be some sort of ordinance keeping people from just indiscriminately cutting down a healthy tree. The other one is parking on front lawns. There's no reason that they should park on front lawns, but we have no ordinance. There is one in the city, but not in Orange County. The mandatory trash do not enforce a lot of their rules and regulations. Those things would help keep the area looking clean and better maintained.
You raised your family here in Pine Hills.
Yes.
Are they all still in Pine Hills today?
Well, my one daughter is. She taught at Evans for 25 years. She was hired right out of UCF. Actually, it was Florida Tech at that time, and hired at Evans to teach math for 25 years. And she just recently retired from Orange County Schools after 35 years. So, and then the other daughter lives in Crystal River. But both she and her husband graduated from Evans. And he's a dentist in Homosassa. Mm-hmm.
Do you still think Pine Hills is a great place to raise a family?
Yes, yes. We're very conveniently located. We have good schools, we have good school buildings, and we have good teachers who are actively involved with the schools. I know from Evans, the dedicated teachers. Mm-hmm.
Is there anything that, any part of the community that you miss that no longer exists?
I think we had a very tight community spirit in the beginning. It was like, I think, but I don't know that it was so much the change in the cultures. I think it was the change in the times. People are not involved in their communities like they used to be. They're too involved in the computers and all the technical things so that they don't come together as neighbors like they used to. And I think that's just a sign of the times. I don't think it hurts, you know.
Is there any businesses or buildings that you remember from the past that no longer exist?
Of course, the little old firehouse. Yeah. Pine Hills had a very, very good fire department. And that was one of the prides of this area that really, when we moved here, they had their own fire department. We had a country club. We had also, it was a very well-planned community. And it was a shame to have all that taken away. Those are things that are...
How was the fire department dismissed or dismantled?
It was taken under, you know, they went all under the county rather than, this was an independent fire district. Mm-hmm. But it was very good. It was probably one of the top ones in Orange County. It was very envied. Mm-hmm.
For your church, what do you think is the legacy that either the church or you yourself have left in this community?
Well, I think the legacy of the Grace Church is the homeless program they started. And it's continued through all the years. I really feel like that for a small church for over 20 years, never to miss a month. They wait for us down there. They know we're coming the last week of the month. And one time we drove in and they said, "We've just run out of grits. We knew you would be bringing some." Yeah. So I think that's really the legacy.
And what of your own legacy in the community? What would you like to be remembered for?
Well, maybe helping to bring some good change. I've been active in my homeowners association and Pine Hills Council. I haven't the last few years, but I was always active in that. I just like to see things nice for people, you know, just pleasant. There's no reason if you're not a wealthy community that you still can't have a pleasant surroundings and safe and clean and beautified. And
what sort of work did you do with the Pine Hills Council?
I don't think I ever made president. I was vice president one time. But I covered a lot of the secretary and different offices.
What does the Pine Hills Council do?
They were established to improve the situation of the Pine Hills area and to have some representation. You know, this is why we were so sad to see the village concept voted out. Because an area this large, we really do not have any representation other than our county commissioners who, like Fred Bummer is in Apopka, and they really, I don't think, understand Pine Hills. I don't think Pine Hills has ever truly been understood. So that the community struggles all the time because they have too many leaders that are not working together. We're split into two county commissions. You know, there's just no connection between the way things can be done. And if we'd have had the village concept, we could have had some representation at the Orange County Commission and on planning for Pine Hills. And I'm sorry that didn't pass. Yeah.
What would you like people who don't live in Pine Hills to know about your community?
That we're good people. Mm-hmm.
Is there any enduring memories of the community that you would like to share?
Well, we used to have a lot of fun things. You know, Evans used to have a homecoming parade that'd start in the Pine Hills Shopping Center, go all the way down Pine Hills Road to the school, and just a lot of, you know, really fun things that we'd have for the young people. And I think some of those things, now we did have that big parade, you know, they had, the Pine Hills Council had sponsored when the Evans opened, and that was fun. That was a little reminiscent of the old days. Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much for coming in and speaking with us today.
Thank you, I appreciate it.